Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing one of my perennial picks for best buy in the pre-owned dive watch category. A best-kept secret, this is the Chopard L.U.C Pro 1 Diver. You can see and you can purchase this one on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this micro-rotor manufacture movement automatic diver. Now, the watch on my wrist is quite wearable, and it has a wonderful story behind it, produced relatively briefly from about 2004 to 2009. This model represented Chopard's first foray in earnest into a pure manufacture product in the sports watch class. Now, the watch is handsome, big, but not overbearing in its size. This is how Chopard does a dive watch. 43 millimeters across the round of the case, not inclusive of the crown or crown guards. Because of the micro-rotor movement, it is far slimmer than you might guess. 13 millimeters with a generously sloped and not excessively flared bezel. This one can clear a dress cuff and should have no problems with a sweater or a sport jacket or a blazer sleeve. Now, from lug to lug, it's big, but not quite as big as you might think. The watch, if you include the solid end links of the bracelet, spans 56 millimeters across the wrist, but you can see on my 16 centimeter wrist there is no problem fitting it. I would say down to 14.5 to 15 centimeters in circumference. Especially if your wrist is oval shaped, you're going to wear this one easily with style and security. Now, you can see the bracelet pulls straight down, so it doesn't fight you. Unlike many bracelets where you have flared end links, and I should note that the end links here do pivot, unlike the solid horns on a Rolex end link. This one will pull straight down around your wrist. It also gives you the peace of mind of screw fixture. So not spring bars, screws hold this heavy watch to its heavy bracelet for additional peace of mind and security. The design of the bracelet is interesting. There is a contrast between polished and satin finished facets, also a little bit of nuance of line to create an unconventional appearance. Now, when you reach the bottom, there's more unconventional thinking at play. It's a double deployant, which is always great for smaller wrists because it doesn't have the one big up and over fold that can pinch you. But the use of a clamshell, not unprecedented in the dive class, but a lateral clamshell is something you don't see too often. Nevertheless, it does offer immense security, and in total, the double fold and the clamshell remain remarkably low in profile to minimize desk diving damage. It's also confidence-inspiring. The clasp itself, despite many small moving parts, feels very solid. Also very solid, the case. Now, you can see its flanks are all of high polish. There's not a whole lot of nuance to the shape of the case. It's an honest, tapered lug design drawn from the best traditions of the dive watch class. You can see there is some contrast between the polished flanks and the satin finished top, as well as the polished, beaded, knurled edge of the bezel and its media-blasted caps, contrasting with polished indices and numerals. Now, the thing that can make or break a dive watch is the feel and the sound, as well as the total effort required to move the bezel. Here, I have to say A+. Chopard nailed it on their first try. It sounds good, it feels good, and you have the practicality of being able to line up the luminescent index with the minute hand, and now you've got an impromptu 0 to 60 countdown timer. Now, the dial design is original and a little bit, I would say, flamboyant in its use of unusual colors, shapes, and textures. There is a wave pattern embossed at the center of the dial, and the use of a sort of aquamarine or turquoise is unconventional for luminescence. Likewise, the hands at center, they're not quite Dauphine, they're not quite Broad Arrow, they're not quite Alpha. They're a sort of hybrid of their own, but with large luminescent swaths. They glow brilliantly at night. This is an easy watch to view in any light. You may even have overlooked the date window at 4:30. It's beautifully integrated, and there are those who rage against dates on dive watches. I feel this is the best of both worlds, discreet enough that you'll miss it and doesn't visually break up the dial, and yet present and correct for those who like to be able to reference this convenient information. You may have noted the watch is water resistant to 300 meters, and yes, it is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. Let me flip open the clamshell double deployant clasp, and we'll take a look at the Francophone compass rose on the case back. Underneath is the Chopard manufacturer caliber 496 automatic micro rotor, 34 joules, 4 hertz, 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, a superior 65-hour power reserve. It also features quick set functionality for the date. It's protected down to 300 meters, and once again, it is a chronometer. This is a watch that has a lot going for it. Mechanically interesting, aesthetically different, physically substantial. Everything about this watch impresses, right down to the fact that each individual link in the bracelet is removable for precise sizing. Again, for a company with no real heritage of hardcore manufactured divers, Chopard pretty much hit it out of the park on its first swing. You can see and you can purchase this modern-day classic and, in my opinion, burgeoning, emerging collectible on our website.